Welcome to The Pulse, where we delve deep into the issues and ideas that are shaping the future of education. I'm your host, Rick Surrency, Superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and each week we'll be talking to teachers, administrators, and other experts in the field about the latest trends, best practices, and most pressing concerns in education. Whether you're a teacher, a parent, or just someone who cares about education, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the pulse. Well, welcome back. This is Rick Surrency. I'm the superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and I appreciate everybody joining our podcast today. And I'm very fortunate to have with us one of our teachers and two of our students from Q.I.Roberts Junior Senior High School. And we're here to talk about the CSO program, or Chief Science Officers, which is related to our STEM. STEM, we have so many acronyms in education, but science, technology, engineering, and math. And we're going to talk about a lot of the STEM careers and how the CSOs are involved in those careers and really educating and encouraging students to take part in that. So with us today, we have Wendy, who is actually the sponsor of the CSOs, and we have two of our students who I'll ask to introduce themselves in just a minute. But Wendy, introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your background, if you would.
Okay, sure. My name is Wendy Helmy. I'm a science teacher at Q.I.Roberts Junior Senior High School. I teach chemistry and physics there. I'm also, I've had dual careers. I have a PhD in entomology and nematology, and so I'm also a Navy reservist. I'm an entomologist in the Navy, so I have a STEM career outside of my teaching career. And I've been very thankful that I recently took over the position of mentoring and facilitating our Chief Science Officer program at Q.I.Roberts.
Welcome, Wendy, and thanks for being here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let's start here. Aiden, introduce yourself, tell us your grade, and maybe some things that you want everybody to know.
So my name is Aiden. I also go to Q.I.Roberts. I'm in 11th grade. This is going on my 6th year as a Chief Science Officer. I myself am interested in aerospace. That's what STEM field I'm interested in, and that's the career I want to pursue in the future.
Very good. And as a Chief Science Officer, you're kind of like a mouthpiece for that program, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of educating students about that.
My name's Caden. I go to Q.I.Roberts Junior Senior High School. I'm in 11th grade, and I've been with Aiden going through the CSO program for 6 years as well. I'm looking into the engineering field, a little bit of the aeronautical field as well, but mostly a broad view of the engineering world.
Very good. Well, thank you both for being here, and we're going to get back with you in just a minute about some of the things you're doing. So, Wendy, tell us kind of the history of your involvement of the Chief Science Officers. And I've known about them a little bit, but what are some of the things that they're doing at Q.I.Roberts specifically?
So as I said just a minute ago, I've just recently taken over the position a couple months ago, and from someone who had been very successful leading the program prior to me. And so recently we attended the Leadership Training Institute. That's something that all Chief Science Officers have to attend each year. And so we took all of our Chief Science Officers to that in Jacksonville. And so pretty much my role is to facilitate their ideas. Mm-hmm. So they come up with their action plans that they want to implement. And if they've done everything in the past, from going to like Kennedy Space Center, for example, when they've gone to the Medieval Fair, they have gone to elementary schools and done outreach, worked with drones and robotics and things like that. So all kinds of things. But it's pretty much their ideas, and then I help them achieve those goals.
That's great. That's great. And I've always heard it said, that Chief Science Officers to STEM is kind of like FFA is to Ag. It's kind of like that leadership aspect of it. So tell me, both of y'all individually, Caden, start with you. What does CSO mean to you, and what are some things that if somebody was out there watching this podcast, maybe some students, what might be some reasons they get involved in the CSO program?
One of the main things about CSO, or Chief Science Officers, is that firstly, we are basically all about STEM. But the other thing as well behind it is building up leadership skills. That's why mostly the action plans, we have to plan that ourselves. We have to talk to our principals saying, hey, do you mind if we do this for the year? And it's really to promote STEM, but the leadership for future students in their careers.
That's great. That's great. So it's really, sometimes students, I think, listen to students more than they listen to us adults. So that's a great point. So Aiden, what about you? What is some things that really stand out to you?
So to answer your first question, what does it mean to be a CSO? To me, it means a few things. Personal development. Myself, I've developed a lot of leadership skills. If you asked me 6 years ago to go on a podcast that can be broadcasted to who knows how many people, I would have probably told you no. But I've gotten a lot better at public speaking. I've gotten a lot better at like management skills. I've gotten a lot better at overall leadership. So I myself have improved a lot. And outside of personal growth, I do like just helping inspire other people to get them into something that I myself am interested in.
Very good. What do you see, both of y'all, what do you see yourself doing after graduation? You both 11th graders?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what do you see yourself, not this year, but after next year, what do you see yourself doing after high school? Aiden, we'll start with you. What are some things?
Well, like I mentioned, I'm interested in aerospace, so I want to go to some sort of aeronautical university, probably Embry-Riddle is what I'm looking at right now. I want to fly. I can appreciate the engineering aspect of aerospace, but I like flying. Maybe I'll get into the military. I haven't fully decided on anything yet, but
that's great. And
I
I know,
wanna fly.
and you're involved in I always talk about our aerospace program and or aeronautical program, and you're actually earning flight hours now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
so that's exciting. I've been meaning to get out there and watch some of you guys fly, so I'm planning on I'll be out there. So what are some things what does the future hold for you, Caden?
So funny enough, I'm also kind of looking into Embry-Riddle myself, but for aeronautical engineering for me. Because like I said, I am interested in flying, not so much, but maybe, who knows, designing the planes, designing future projects of such to improve on that technology. Things like that. I don't know fully yet, but I'm looking in that direction right now.
That's great. That's great. So what are some things y'all have done? What are some projects you have done since you've been CSOs that really stand out over the past 6 years? That's kind of off the cuff question, but what are some things that really stand out that you've done over the last 6 years that, hey, I just want somebody to know about this? Anything come to mind?
Well, every year we make an action plan, which is essentially just a list of projects, goals, whatever, that we want to do. For example, it might be to host a field trip, a school-wide field trip. It might be to do what we've done in the past, in morning announcements about STEM every week. It can be a bunch of things, and every year we come up with a new list and we execute it. I'm told that Q.I.Roberts does the most things on an action plan. Essentially, all of the other schools combined equals what our action plan alone is. I could go on for hours about different things we've done, how it went, everything. So
you feel pretty good about it as far as what the CSO program that QI is doing right now, right?
yes, sir.
Feel
It's going in a
confident.
good direction.
That's great. That's great. Matter of fact, several years ago, I met a couple of CSOs from Q.I.Roberts. We actually went to Tallahassee together, or I met them there, and we met the state representative of the CSOs there. So, and I'm trying to remember who all it was, but and we went to the Capitol and all that kind of stuff. So there's, a lot of opportunities there. So what about yourself? What stands out over the past few years that maybe is a highlight from your, and I'm kind of catching you off guard here, I know, but anything come to mind as far as what y'all have done over the action plans or anything over the past 6 years?
I have two in mind right now. One of them was, it was a very outlandish idea at first, but one was to create a go-kart airplane type thing, and we were actually able to, it was able to happen. We were able to somehow manage it, and we currently have it for different like parades and whatnot that happen, and sometimes we have people go out with our go-kart and our school's band and go out and play and with our little go-kart going. The other one as well that kind of comes to mind, which
Wait a minute, the go-kart has wings and all that kind of
yes,
stuff?
sir.
Really?
It does have little wings and little thrusters at the back.
So I'm taking it hasn't left the ground yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
But it's in the plan, right?
We'll get there some point. One of the other things as well is my current action plan that I kind of want to look into for our county is to go more into the drones, but more specifically, about fireworks and how it's a little bit of a one-use thing.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to take it and see what I can do with the county and do drone light shows. So coding, trying to get the certain drones, a lot of DIY stuff, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be interesting to kind of show the county, even though a small scale, of what you can do of multiple usage of fireworks, essentially.
I've seen that like at the Super Bowl and different things.
Yep.
That is amazing. And there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of little drones up there doing that, right?
Yes.
And they're all programmed to do different things.
all programmed for certain things. Yes, sir.
Wow, I would love to see that. And just think about what you could do in our community with that. I mean, fly it over the river and do whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
I would love to see that. So, yeah, definitely let me know when you're ready to pull that off. I'd love to see that.
we're doing research. I think Aiden said he would join me in that, but
We've talked about it, yeah.
we're doing research right now. It's looking to be a little difficult, but we don't mind a little challenge.
Well, let me know what I can do. And I don't know if I can do anything, but I'd love to see it take off. So Wendy, what's the future? I know you've just been involved for the last couple of months. What do you see the rest of the year? What do you see the future look like for the Q.I.Roberts CSO program?
So when we went to the Leadership Training Institute here recently, I got to be a part of their brainstorming with ideas, and just the ideas they came up with were really outstanding. So I look forward to seeing what they can implement in the future.
Any ideas stand out?
Not right off the top of my head, other than what they've already talked about. But yeah, they had some really good ideas as a group.
So let me ask you this, and I always like to consider who's watching this. If there's students out there, whether they're Q.I.Roberts students or if there are other students who want to know more information, or maybe even teachers that want to get involved with this, can we put some contact information on the screen where they could reach out to you either by email or
Sure.
any other way?
Yep.
And we'll get that information from you, but we'll put that on the screen. And we do encourage everybody in our county, and I know we have CSO programs at other high schools, but to me, there's a lot of value in coming together and really kind of, sharing ideas, because it makes us all better, right? So, yeah.
And one of the things when we were at the Leadership Institute is one of the things I wanted to make sure to mention about is I decided to do a little speaking, but I wanted to make sure that our community knew that, or the other CSOs, that, hey, reach out to others. The more people, the much more grand it can be. One of the students, their idea was to have a STEM festival, and I was saying make sure to reach out to other CSOs, because I think there was one or two that were also talking about the idea. If they would come together, who knows how big it could be. And of course, you could start a little bit small, but like how we've been doing Q.I.Roberts, we want to expand a little bit.
Yeah. And it can start small, and I love reading. I'm a former history teacher, and I love reading about people like Steve Jobs, and actually the guy who worked with Steve Jobs and invented the personal computer was a guy named Steve Wozniak, or Woz-Ed. You've heard of Woz-Ed?
Yeah.
Well, I was actually visiting Steve Wozniak a couple weeks ago in Arizona. I was out there, and actually several of our people from Putnam County were out there as well. But he talks about how those two got together in a garage and really started just tinkering, and out of what they were tinkering came the personal computer. So there's nothing that can start too small. And with grand ideas, especially talking to people from other schools, other counties, sometimes we might come up on something that could be something that might change our entire world. So I really appreciate you guys being here, and I'm looking forward to what's going to happen over the next year or so. And I'd love to come out to one of your meetings whenever you do that. Just send me an email or something. If I'm available, I'd love to come out there and just see your action plan, right? And y'all have an action plan you're working on this year. It's already in place?
Not at the moment. We're still trying to. We don't want to do too much immediately, because we know that Dr. Helmy is a little new. We don't want to go too crazy just yet.
Right.
But we want to try to get some solid stuff in before we start really saying, okay, let's do all of this. Let's get at least a few solid things down that, hey, we are going to do this. And then that's eventually will start blossoming out and start really being able to reach out to the community.
I'll have a quick story to tell. You were talking about just, exposing people to different STEM opportunities. I have a nephew right now who is actually is going into the Air Force to be a fighter pilot. And he just earned his pilot's license, like last week. And he came up to me and he thanked me. I said, for what? What did I do? When he was a little boy, I took him and my son and his brother to Embry-Riddle and just took them on the tour of Embry-Riddle, okay? And actually, they didn't, but they will take you up on an airplane if you want to and to fly you around. At least they did back then. But, he's in his mid-20s now, but this is probably when he was 5 or 6 years old. But just that little bit of exposure, really it made him to want to be a pilot. So right now, he's going to be an Air Force pilot. He just earned his pilot's license because he was able to go see a little bit about what an opportunity is. So I guess what I'm saying is anything that we can do, if we can plant a seed in students in the future, they might do something that we'll never dream of, and really might invent something that we will all use for years to come. So thank you guys for being here. Is there anything else that you want to share about the CSO program at Q.I.Roberts that I haven't mentioned already?
Really quickly, I do want to mention what you were just saying.
Yeah.
I think you are really on something, that it does plant a seed, because when last year the CSOs, not saying it was bad at all or their action plans, but it was a little bit less. But I think, or I wonder if it's because I noticed this year was a lot more different. It was a lot more adventurous, which I thought was really, really interesting. So I wonder if it is from the seed plant of the other CSOs of our community.
It might be, and you guys can plant some seeds now. You're both juniors. You can plant some seeds now for those 7th and 8th graders at QI. That it'd be neat for you to come back years later after you graduate from college and see just what's happening. So I really look forward to the future, and you guys are really kind of setting the stage. And Wendy, thank you for your leadership too. So, but thank you all for tuning in, and appreciate the CSO program at Q.I.Roberts, and I look forward to great things happening, okay? And we'll see you in our next podcast.